So much light. Daylight. All the time. And on sunny days, you almost felt like you were outside. It was that bright.
Did that surprise you, Grace?
It was a factory. I thought it'd be dark and dirty.
Then why go to work then?
I was 15. It was time I paid my own way.
Pay your own way? What about school?
Oh, I didn't miss it much. The girls were all so nice, and the work wasn't hard. It wasn't like factory work. It was like art, painting those dials. We were artists.
I'm not the one you want to talk to. It's Dr. Von Sashaki. He's the one you want to talk to.
Now, Arthur, you know he won't talk to us.
It's his process.
Tell me about this process, Arthur. You used a powder?
We used a powder. The girls mixed it with an adhesive to make the paint, but that business with the brushes, I didn't invent that. That was there when I got there.
But you knew about it.
We all knew about it. We just didn't know what it meant.
Irene? In here. Irene, what are you doing? Shut the door.
Amelia's working inspection today.
Is that bad?
Not for us. She's gonna be sitting in here all alone, in the dark, checking dials.
Poor thing.
Poor thing.
So, we're gonna give her a little surprise.
Boom! Like the Cheshire Cat.
Won't that make her mad?
You let her get mad.
That's half the fun.
I don't want to make her mad.
Oh, Grace, do you have to be this way about everything?
What way?
Your teeth. Grace, let's put some on your teeth.
Ain't like Amelia don't deserve it. She paints more dials than any girl on the floor. And can't be bothered to talk to nobody either. You say, Amelia, what's new? She just looks at you funny.
Well, I don't think she speaks much English.
Well, it wouldn't tell her to smile, would it?
Shh, she's coming. Give the light. Where's the switch?
Oh, for pity's sakes, Catherine.
Now, I'm sure it's unnecessary, Mrs. McNeil.
I don't tolerate no foolishness, Doctor.
Foolishness we don't want, do we? Mr. Reader, this is the inspection room where all the dials come that are painted. And here are some of the girls who, on the floor, should be working. Girls, this is Mr. Reader, my new vice president and your new plant manager.
And I was just telling Mr. Reader what a fine bunch of girls we have here. He must think by now that I'm halfway out of my mind.
Mr. Reader, perhaps you have some words for the girls? Mrs. McNeil?
Well, girls, this paint you've been playing with, it's very expensive. You realize this? It takes several tons of ore to produce just a single gram of radium. That's a lot of work, hard work, for the men in the extraction plant. But they do this work willingly. Do we know why? Why they do this work? What are we all working for?
The war?
That's right, the war. The dials you paint save lives, girls. Save lives, girls. Our boys in the field depend on them to read them in the dark, no mistaking what they see. So, if you play around and don't take the work seriously, well, you're playing into the hands of the Kaiser, and we don't want that, do we?
No, sir.
Very well. Then let's get back to work and leave the tomfoolery to home.
Mr. Reader, I just wanted to say that I'm real sorry. I won't do nothing like this ever again.
Well, dear, just keep this in mind. If you do right by us, we'll do right by you.
May 17th, 1921. Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York graphic.
Jack Gatewood for the New York Ledger, New York's first source for news.
Madame Marie Curie, eminent French scientist, embarks on a whistle-stop tour of the United States.
First stop, New York City, where she's greeted by her enthusiastic fans of well-wishers.
The high priestess of science is headed to Washington to be gifted 1 gram of radium valued at $100,000.
Purchased for her by the members of the Marie Curie Radium Club Association of 100,000 American women.
Who each gave $1 to support humanitarian research with radium.
Irene, look, I got my certificate. Member Marie Curie Radium Club.
$1?
It's for science.
Science? How about I bring her more?
Look, there she is.
Welcome all. I must ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the press, to please limit your questions. Madame Curie is about to embark on an exhaustive tour of the country, and she is under strict doctor's orders to rest. Although, in typical fashion of a scientist who can think only of her research, her life's work, she's refused to rest.
Madam Curie, what will you do with the radium?
Eh?
What will you do with the radium?
I will continue my experiments to find better methods for the treatment of the cancer.
Is radium a cure for all types of cancer?
Cure for the cancer. Yes, cure for the cancer. That is so. It has already cured all kinds of the cancer.
But some doctors dispute that.
Since they do not understand the method, there is no question. Radium will cure the cancer.
Madam Curie!
So Madam Curie, you feel like you would...
Madam Curie, how do you manage to devote yourself to both science and your children?
It has not been easy. But my daughters share my gratitude for the American women for their interest in science and my work. I am most grateful.
Madam Curie,
so
how
when
about
will you
questions?
tour?
Madam Curie is on a tight schedule. Mrs. Andrew Carnegie has arranged a car and will escort Dr. Curie personally, as will I, to Washington, where President Harding will present the gift of 1 gram of radium.
Did you see that, Charlie? That was a marketing opportunity. Let's send her one of our customers' watches, courtesy of the United States Radium Corporation.
We'll need a press release.
Radium isn't just for scientists to study. The average American can share in its luminosity every night. Luminous watches, luminous clocks, and anyone who thinks these are just novelties, consider all the past advancements in the past 50 years. The electric light, the telegraph,
The telephone.
the automobile, all things once dismissed as novelties, as toys.
Are now essentials to modern life. Got it. That ought to sell some watches.
Watches, absolutely. But you heard the lady. That's not where the growth is. It's the medical market.
And Standard Chemical owns it.
Only because Vaughn's a Shockley lets them. We can have half of their business. It's just a matter of positioning.
Standard Chemical publishes its own journal. Sends it out monthly to 12,000 doctors. We could do something similar.
Something scholarly that the doctors would respect.
A bibliography listing every article ever published on radio.
But with the capsule reports, the doctors would find what they need, get it fast,
And have us to thank for it.
we'll send it to every doctor in the U.S. Radium Society.
Every doctor in the American Medical Association.
That's the spirit, Charlie. Advertising. That's the wave of the future. It's not just the product. It's how you promote it.
Good morning.
Good morning, girls.
Good morning.
Grace, you should have seen it. Their church was filled with flowers, lilies and carnations and orchids. You know how Amelia loved orchids.
Those weren't orchids.
They were orchids, Irene.
Flags.
Purple orchids. I know an orchid when I see one. Oh, and Grace, that smell. It was like flowers. No, it was like heaven. I was going to say it was like heaven.
Like heaven. Catherine, it was just a funeral. You make it out like some Valentino picture.
Just a funeral? It wasn't just a funeral. It was Amelia's, and it was beautiful. Oh, and Grace, the church looked like the botanical gardens. Oh, and the company sent a big spray of flowers too. Carnations.
Mums.
Yellow carnations.
Those were mums.
Well, it sounded like a nice service anyhow.
Girls, the whistle has already gone. Now then, I've received new instructions for the day. We're going back to the old
Dr. Von Shishaki told me not to do that. He said it was unsanitary.
Unsanitary? I can't hardly believe he'd ever say such a thing. We've been doing this for as long as I've been here. You must have just misunderstood.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're not to get a new brush until you're done with the old. And it's got to be so bad that you can't get the paintbrush to hold a point more.
You can't make quota like that.
Well, you'll do your best, seeing how I have my instructions. I need a new brush. It's not for us to be asking questions, is it? It's for us to do the work.
I have my instructions, girls. I have my instructions.
Here's an instruction for you, McNeil. Let some discharge out of your corset.
Was she at the service?
McNeil, are you kidding? You think she crossed the street for her own mother?
Most everyone else was, though. You was about the only girl from the floor who wasn't there.
I wanted to come, but Ma was working and I had to watch the little ones.
You could have brought him.
All 7?
Well, if it was me, I'd try to get there.
Just lay off. Grace already feels bad as it is.
Were many of the fellows there?
Oh yeah, lots of the fellas from downstairs. Mr. Von Shishaki, Mr. Raw from the front office, and Mr. Reader.
And he left early.
So, he was there all the same. Oh, and Grace, you know that fella from Crystallizing? What's his name? The kid with the red hair?
Oh, the tall one with the freckles.
Yeah, who's always snapping all the time?
George.
Jerry.
Yeah, I think it was George.
It's Jerry. Jerry Allen. He was the one who was always talking to Amelia in the day room.
Oh, that's right. Oh, and Grace, after the mass, he goes up to the coffin, and he goes like this. Like this he goes. No. Yes.
Really?
Really?
Oh, for pity's sake.
Nobody could believe it.
So what if he did?
So what? He was in love with her. That's so what? Don't you think so, Grace?
I guess he had to be if he did all that.
And can you imagine? Can you imagine? He was in love with her, but he never could bring himself to say because she was so beautiful and he was so shy. And now it's too late. It's too late. Their love is forever thwarted. He didn't tell her, and now he'll never get the chance to ever again.
Poor Amelia.
Poor Amelia.
Poor kid.
Her family's taking it awful bad too, Grace. Albina, Quinta, every one of them, everybody crying. Crying so bad. Even the father. I ain't never seen a man cry like that. And not just like that. Just bawling like a baby.
And you know why, too.
Why?
Syphilis. I can't help it, that's what she died from.
But Amelia was ever so nice.
Because she got around more than we knew.
Well, maybe it's a mistake. Maybe the doctor got it
Oh,
wrong.
come on.
It's true. The doctor was wrong about Aunt Ivy.
What's Mama got to do with it?
Irene, don't you remember? Up to the day she died, the doctor said, take a cup of tea, get a good night's rest. And 2 days later, we was taking her up to Rosedale Cemetery.
Girls, your attention, please. The gentlemen have something they wish to say.
Yes, we're here to put a few rumors to rest.
And to make some changes, yeah?
As some of you may have heard, Dr. Von Shishaki is planning on stepping down, and he'd like to take this opportunity
To make with goodbye, which Mr. Reader has kindly consented. Some of you girls I've known since you were little girls, coming here during the war, working so hard, day by day at the bench, so eager to be part of our work here. This company I started when I was in my own kitchen, mixing paints. I knew I found something miraculous, something to make life better, easier. And now, what do I read? More and more uses of the radium, more than I could ever dream possible.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Now, seeing as the Doctor is a very busy man, we must wish him the best of luck on his new business ventures.
There you go, girls. And let us good luck wish to you also, Mr. Reader, to the plate he steps as your new company president. Thank you. When Mr. Reedus came to her 4 years ago, I saw in him a man of great ambition.
Thank you.
And great expertise.
Yes, thank you.
Little did I know the direction his expertise would take him, but that's the great thing about this country. The direction it will take a young man and his friends.
And so, girls.
And so, ladies, Let us wish him the very best in the direction he intends the company to take.
New direction.
Well, with the slowdown in dial painting,
Now, doctor,
and the business moving to the medical market, there's gonna be some changes.
what the doctor is referring to is some of our larger customers are setting up their own dial painting studios.
Which means less work for you girls here.
In the short run, things may be slower around here. However, the Waterbury Clock Company in Connecticut is setting up their own studio. We're intending on making an announcement next week. We'll make it now. Mrs. McNeil?
Yes, we'll be asking some of you to go on up there.
The work is supervisory in nature, which means more pay. Do you have any girls in mind?
Louise Conlon was one, Sarah Duch, Lena McCarthy, and Catherine Shaw. I have the entire list downstairs. I'll post it later today.
Very well. Then seeing as we're all on the clock, I'll leave you ladies to your work. Thank you.
Thank you, girls. My best wishes to you all.
And that is back to work for you girls.
So you gonna do it, Catherine? You gonna take the job?
Well, I don't know. Would you do it, Grace? Would you go to Connecticut?
I don't know. It's awful far from home, and Tommy would have a fit.
Come on, Grace. It'd be fun. Won't it be fun, Irene? Irene?
Irene, honey, are you all right?
Huh? Yeah, sure. Pregnant and I'd be alright. What?
Your mouth is bleeding.
$35 a week and she quits the place.
More to life than money.
Well, that's what you say when you're young, Tom. When you and Grace get to be my age with a house full of your kids underfoot, you'll thank God for every penny that you put by.
We got money put by.
How much?
Enough to get married on.
It don't take much to get married on. Do you have enough money to stay married on?
You let us get married. We'll find out.
You still eat, Tom?
It's good.
We're gonna get fat. Growing boy, gotta keep up his strength. He works hard for his money.
Don't start, Ma.
I didn't say nothing, but it's your father who hit the roof over it.
He didn't hit the roof.
Oh, you should have seen the man's face, Tom, when he found out Grace wasn't working no more. Most girls would give their auntie for a job like that. Good money, easy work, and nice-looking fellows around the plants.
You didn't tell me about them, Grace.
There weren't that many of them, hardly seem worth the mention.
And she leaves it all behind for reasons unknown. I'm tired of it up there, she says. Are you tired of a paycheck? I says. Who needs a paycheck? She says. I got me a boyfriend who takes me out on Saturdays.
She really said that?
Oh, you know I didn't. And for your information, I got me a job. I started the bank on Monday.
Oh yeah, the bank. And what's it pay?
Enough?
Enough. Always enough. You know what that means, Tom? It means it don't come close to what it used to pay at the radium plant.
It's office work.
Office work. Well, I guess that means that we spend more money on clothes then. Now we're 3 jumps from this. Sweet Jesus, office work.
Boy, she is really steamed at you.
I don't see what difference it makes so long as I'm working somewheres.
Don't make no difference to me. I just thought you liked it up there.
I mean, sure, I liked it. I worked there 4 years.
So, I've been delivering mail for almost 8 years. I plan to keep on delivering mail for 20 or 30 years. If I'm lucky, nothing like steady work and a good pension to help you sleep at night.
Well, I don't have a pension and I sleep just fine.
Oh, I bet you do. So, Grace, how come you quit?
Work was slow, and besides, since Irene left, it just hasn't been much fun. And wouldn't you rather have a girlfriend who works at the bank?
Not as much as I'd rather have a wife. We don't work nowhere.
Close your eyes. I have a surprise for you.
Yeah? Want for me to pull the shades?
Not that kind of surprise. All right, now open.
Wallpaper?
For the baby's room.
Baby's room? You won't even kiss me and you're already talking about babies?
There's gonna be babies eventually, Tommy.
Well, sure, but you know, Grace, most girls, they get married before they talk about the nursery.
Will you plan ahead for once and pick one?
Is this some kind of test?
It's just wallpaper.
So it is some kind of test.
Would you pick one?
All right. This one.
Really?
This one then.
I want you to like it.
If you like it, I like it. Wallpaper is wallpaper.
No, it isn't. Yeah, it has to be something you can stand to look at for 20 years.
Same way you pick women.
Keep that up, smarty pants, and you won't ever get that kiss.
Okay then. This one hands down.
I like it too. A nice neutral yellow. Could work for either a boy or a girl. And in the meantime, we could use it for something else.
Really? Like what?
Like a painting studio, maybe?
A painting studio, maybe. Don't you get enough painting done at work?
Not the kind of painting I want to do, Tommy. I used to do watercolors when I was back at school, but with helping Mom and watching the kids, I haven't had no time to do it. So when we get married, I just want a little bit of time, just a little bit, to do the kind of painting I want. I could paint your portrait if you like.
Sure, paint me a picture. We can hang it out in the outhouse. Everyone will come around, just use the cans so they can look at it.
Oh, the way you talk sometimes.
Oh, Grace, if you want to paint pictures, paint pictures. I ain't gonna stop you.
You say that now, but you'll change your tune when we get married.
Sure, I'll be a whistling Dixie.
Wait till you come home some Christmas evening, all tired, and say the people on your route have had 3 times the packages, and say some dog took after you, and some old lady kept you on her stoop talking to you about her grandkids, and you wouldn't have the heart to tell her you can't talk. I know you. So then you come home all hungry and beside yourself, looking for your dinner, but it's nowhere in sight. But what is there is me set up in the kitchen with my easel, with my drop cloth on the floor, my tables all over, and my paint's all over the table. What would you say then?
Well, it better be a picture of me you're painting.
Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say. Where is my dinner?
Well, sure, but you know, Grace, I still admire the painting. Just want to look at it full stomach, that's all. So, how I do? Pick the right wallpaper?
I don't know. I'm gonna look at stripes.
Stripes, polka dots, Grace, I don't care. Let's just get married. You're plenty old enough. Tell your mom we're not waiting anymore. We'll just run off.
Tommy, we are not running off. We are going to do it right. A nice church wedding with music and flowers and a week by the seashore. It'll be worth it, I promise.
Your mouth still hurt?
Yeah, the dentist wants to pull another tooth.
So, what's it do?
Hazel Cusser. Any connections to the others?
Only by virtue of employment.
Except she's got a good lawyer.
Knows how to write a good letter to me, that lawyer.
And she no longer works here.
Left 6 months ago.
This makes 4 now.
3.
4. If you count the Magia girl.
I wouldn't include her.
She worked here.
She also worked other places. And what she died from. You couldn't pick it up here. At least, I don't think you can.
That's not funny, Charlie. Besides, that's just idle talk.
In my experience, there's usually something to the idle talk when it comes to girls like that.
From a large family, wasn't she?
Italians. The conditions they live in. 10, 12 people in 3 rooms. It's a wonder they don't all die from one disease or another.
3 then. And how many dead?
Only the Magia girl. But I haven't heard from her folks.
It's too late for them anyway. The statute of limitations is 2 years, but Hazel Cusser, she's another story. She's in the position to make some trouble.
In all the time that I've worked here, not so much as a slip on the floor, and now this.
We're talking about 3 girls here. Out of how many hundreds we've employed?
600 or 700 over the years.
And some of them were sick when they got here. One girl you hired was a complete cripple. Couldn't even walk up the stairs. Her father had to carry her up to the studio every morning.
I didn't care how she got up the stairs. She was a fast worker and a very sweet little girl.
She was in poor health.
She needed the work.
Arthur, Charlie.
And not just for the work or just for the money. To feel productive, to have a purpose. That's what work does for you, Charlie. It gives us a purpose, and I don't see any reason why we should stop hiring girls like that.
When they get sick and try to blame us for it, you might want to reconsider that policy.
We'll see what Dr. Drinker has to say about that.
Dr. Drinker?
Some professor at Harvard School of Industrial Hygiene.
He chairs the department, and he's agreed to take a look at our operations.
Don't you think we're jumping the gun a bit here, hiring him?
6 girls have quit this week, and Mrs. McNeil tells me there could be more.
Girls come and go all the time.
But it's never been like this. These girls are terrified, and we have to do something to help them.
Letting Drinker examine them. That sounds like a recipe for mass hysteria.
We'll call it a routine physical. Edward?
Companies give physicals all the time.
Then Drinker will start next month.
In the meantime, I recommend we make an offer to Miss Cusser.
Settle?
There's no proof her problems are connected to us.
If she sues, believe me, you won't like the publicity it brings, and neither will your investors.
You think this will affect the stock offering?
Don't you?
Wonderful. We'll open at 30 and close at 10.
Or not open at all.
But if we give this girl something, wouldn't that keep her quiet?
It would be in condition of the settlement.
Suppose this lawyer has a racket going. He finds sick girls and lures them into making suits. And then we reward him for his larceny.
Unless Miss Kusher genuinely believes she got sick here.
It could be like what Charlie said. She comes from a large immigrant family, not well educated, not a lot of resources.
A few $100 would make a big difference to a girl like that.
Certainly. Pay a few doctor bills. Buy some medicine. From the sound of that letter, it doesn't sound like that girl has long to live anyway.
So it'd be more like a gesture of decency then.
Exactly.
How much do you think we should offer?
March 24th, 1924, Jack Duckworth reporting for the New York Legend.
Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic. The Graphic's only girl reporter.
Could radium water pose a cure for crippling arthritis? Scientifically suggest otherwise.
Dateline, Orange, New Jersey. Radium water products offer a miracle cure for crippling arthritis.
Some patients report only significant abatement in their symptoms.
Mrs. Jeremy Michaels of the Bronx tells us how radium water transformed her life. My pain got so bad I couldn't hardly bend over.
While others reported only mild relief.
This poor, brave woman could not even bend down to kiss the little ones goodnight. And I've got 3. Let me tell you, they are a handful.
Dr. Harrison Martland, Chief Examiner of Essex, comments on the study.
Preliminary at best.
Your recommendations, Mr. Martland.
I advise further study. Further study. Then Mrs. Michaels tried Radicare. They said it would help my rheumatism, so I drank a bottle a day for a month. Wasn't cheap, but I was desperate. The test sample is questionably small. Well, first off, I felt like I've been hit by a bolt of lightning. It was that powerful. Now, I drink a bottle a week just to maintain my health. I scrub the kitchen floor and hang laundry same way I always done.
Dr. William J. A. Bailey, inventor of Radithor, shows strong demand for his product.
Dr. William Bailey of Orange announces sales of Radithor exceed 100,000 cases worldwide.
Radioactivity, one of the most remarkable agents in medical science. I drink Radithor myself, and I can vouch for its power.
A bottle a day?
For $1 a bottle.
Worth
Yes.
every penny.
Yes, indeed. I myself was the picture of lethargy before I discovered the amazing vitalizing qualities of radium water. Now look at me. I'm nearly 50 years old, and I have the energy of a man in his 30s.
You rather look like a man in his 30s.
Well, thanks.
A testament to the tonic's potency.
Or to the seller's creativity.
Radithor, it is perpetual sunshine.
And a perpetual money machine for its inventor.
Is there no end to what science can do?
Maybe we should have made an appointment.
I don't need no appointment.
Well, this is a busy place, Catherine. If you don't have an appointment, maybe you should make
I
one.
shouldn't need no appointment for this.
I'm sorry, I don't find anything under Shaw.
No, it's under Rudolph.
Rudolph?
The girl I'm asking after, Irene Rudolph.
Did she file a complaint?
No, the dentist did.
The dentist?
Dr. Neff, Irene's dentist, said she might have bossy jaw and was going to complain to the health department about it, but after asking him, he said he hadn't heard from y'all, and it's been about 6 months now.
Bossy jaw, you say?
Yes.
Catherine, maybe it's like your doctor said, a blood infection.
Yeah, but that's the thing. What was it from?
From dirt. You can get infections from dirt.
Her face swelled up like a pumpkin. Her jaw rotted so bad she couldn't even speak. You think you get something like that from a little dirt? It's phosphorus. They're telling everyone in that plant that it's radium in the paint, but it's the phosphorus that makes it glow.
Oh, honestly, Catherine, you can't really believe that.
You saw her, Grace.
Catherine, if it was really like how bad you say it was, then the company would have shut down by now.
Shut it down? Who? Who's gonna shut it down?
I don't know, the county.
Honestly, Grace, you are such a ninny.
Hey,
How are they gonna shut it down if they don't know about it? Ever think of that?
She's just upset.
upset. She's gone around the bend. She probably thinks they're putting arsenic in the water. Next thing you know, they're kidnapping babies to stoke the furnace.
Go ahead and laugh. You won't be laughing so hard when it's you coming in here 6 months from now asking after Grace.
Now, come on.
Catherine, it is just a toothache.
Just a toothache? That's how it started for Irene. Soon you'll wake up one morning, your face hurting so bad you won't be able to open your mouth. So weak and sick you won't be able to stand up.
Stop it, Catherine.
The pain's so bad you won't even be able to stand the sight
I
of
said
yourself.
stop! Grace is fine. Right, Gracie?
Irene Rudolph?
Yes.
She worked at the radium plant?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing.
Huh?
The company is in full compliance with all state health and labor regulations. They did an analysis on the paint, but...
Let me see.
No, Miss, really.
Who's Miss Young?
That's the health officer, Miss.
Paint is a harmless compound of radium and zinc.
As I was saying, the analysis shows that there's no phosphorus in the paint. There's no phosphorus anywhere in the plant.
There, you see, Catherine?
Miss Young toured the plant herself, but she found nothing amiss. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess we can go get lunch now.
Well, I'm gonna file another complaint.
They already did an investigation.
And I'm gonna file another complaint.
Oh, brother.
Catherine, I just don't see what good this is gonna do.
Yes, I'm gonna file another complaint.
Bugging them like this is not gonna help anything.
3 surgeries, and they wanted to cut her again. Irene said no. She knew. What was left of her jaw rotted so bad, I couldn't even stand the smell. And Grace, the worst of it is, her face swelled up so much I couldn't even look at her. Irene was so afraid of being alone, but I left her alone. It was the middle of the night when she died, and there was nobody with her.
I'm sorry. We'd like another form. My friend would like to file another complaint.
Another complaint? Is the girl still sick?
No, she died.
Wait right
Harriet, you'll come down from that tree at once.
I'm waiting for Papa.
Fine, when he gets here, I'll send him up after you.
There he is. Papa!
Harriet,
come down.
Papa, I can see clear to the church.
can you? Do you see your grandfather?
No, but I see the schoolhouse.
You think this is funny?
She's enjoying herself.
Harriet!
Tell you what, if she doesn't have anyone to shout to, she won't shout.
They can hear her all over the neighborhood.
Can they?
Well, when she comes down, I want you to speak with her.
She's 9 years old, Diane.
And I'm trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
And time is on your side. In another year or two, she'll lose all interest in trees and develop a fascination with boys.
That's supposed to scare me?
And when that day comes, you'll be frantic. Because she no longer wants to climb trees.
What's this?
Something to give you vitality.
You think I need vitality?
That's what it says on the bottle.
Well, is it pure?
Where's the supplier? Give it a try.
Well, if it gives me vitality, how could I refuse? Your father came by to see me today.
Let me guess. Another hard luck case?
4 children at home, all under the age of 6.
And the wife's in hospital with cancer.
Yes.
And the husband's been laid off from, let's see, the brickyard.
Yes.
Through no fault of his own.
How did you know?
Father came by to see me yesterday. It's never enough with him to have an ordinary mission in life. You have to have some type of ambition.
And you do?
I have a business plan.
So you're telling me you want to help this man if you could?
If I could.
What about Dan Lehman?
Dan?
Maybe he can use some help?
What Dan needs is a trained technician, not a bricklayer. And besides, don't you women have a social club for this sort of thing?
You mean the Women's Club Civics Committee?
Right.
Well, yes, the club does take an interest in such cases, but we're not an employment service either, which is why I thought you could help.
Oh, you do love being married to a company president, don't you?
It has its advantages.
Ever think of trading in it?
Do you?
I got my shoes shined this morning. And as I sat there and watched the boy work, I thought, this is a wonderful enterprise. Work walks in, work walks out, no inventory, no stock price.
So you'll trade all of it in for your own shoe shine stand.
Fewer headaches that way.
So you're in one of these moods again. What is it today? Can't be the stock market.
Now you're reading financial pages.
Well, I have to entertain myself somehow. So what happened today? You're being very strange.
Am I? I'm sorry.
You could tell me, you know.
Nothing to tell, really. In fact, this is going to be our best year yet.
So it's the prospect of success that you find so disheartening.
I'll get my checkbook.
What for?
You're a bricklayer?
Artie, he needs a job, not charity. What is it your father always says? A working man needs to work and wears on his soul not to work.
Well, if it's a matter of a soul, then I suppose it can't be helped. I'll talk to Dan.
Artie?
But I make no promises, Diane.
No promises.
To your health.
How long have you had this drainage?
About a week or two. I heard something awful, Dr. Neff.
Anything else bothering you?
My back hurts some too.
You're back now. See your regular doctor?
He says it's nerves.
Nerves.
About my wedding and all.
This ain't no case of nerves. Hope you told him that.
Well, what do you think?
I think you better schedule that surgery.
Couldn't we wait till after my wedding?
You don't schedule that surgery, you won't have no wedding.
What?
Miss Fryer, I need you to listen to me. Your jawbone, it's decaying. That's the black pus oozing out of your gums. It's the jawbone itself.
That's impossible.
To Arthur Reeder, U.S. Radium Corporation, from Cecil Drinker, Harvard University. Enclosed is our report.
Finally.
We believe the trouble in your plant is due to the radium.
Radium?
It can't be as bad as they all say.
This can't be.
Put off the surgery, and you could develop a septic condition. It can be fatal.
The blood changes in your employees can be explained on no other grounds.
Well, I have a suggestion for you.
Photographic films carried by employees show heavy fogging.
Go to the radium plant and explain your situation.
We suspect high levels of gamma radiation throughout the plant.
Go to the company.
We realize no proof can be offered at present.
Once they see what kind of shape you're in,
This is impossible.
they gotta feel obligated to help you out.
But in view of material in the literature,
It's a mistake.
and the facts disclosed by our investigation,
I don't see how they could refuse.
we recommend immediate and drastic remedial action.
Look, if you want, I'll write them to you for you. They can work through me, just pay my bills directly.
You think they do that?
Charlie!
They got a moral obligation, don't you think?
I guess so.
Now, let's go get some papers. Let's help you out.
He has to be wrong, that's all. He's wrong.
He must have overlooked something.
If a new illness is being caused by the radium, then it should occur generally throughout the whole entire plant.
One would expect.
There's 100 milligrams in the big solution in the vats, 100 milligrams in the ore, 100 milligrams in the
The
crystallization.
entire backyard is filled with tailings.
If radium is present across the entire property in good amounts,
If it is the radium, then the incidence of illness should be highest in the laboratory.
and no one there is sick,
Maybe it's a combination of the radium with the zinc.
or something peculiar to our plant alone.
A bacteria, perhaps. In the brushes.
But there are dozens of application plants across the entire country, and none of them have ever reported anything like this.
The Department of Labor wants to see the report.
I'm aware.
What are we going to do? This tears us to pieces. How do we answer them?
They want to see the report? We'll show them the report.
One page?
The most important page.
Drinker will never stand for
But
this.
Drinker works for us, and this is a proprietary report. What we do with it is our business.
But the Department of Labor...
We just need time, Charlie, just a little bit of time.
They could shut us down for
The
this.
scientists, government men, they have no idea what it takes to run a business. When von Shocky thought advertising was a dirty word, he laughed at the very idea of promotion. I can't tell you how many times I walked into his office and he turned a deaf ear to everything I told him. But we showed him. We showed him, Charlie. Look at us. We're the world's largest supplier of radium in the world.
And if you think I'm gonna stand idly by as he drags our good name through the mud, you're mistaken. Trust me, Charlie. Trust me.
Dr. Flynn, it's awful nice of you to come all this way to see me.
Oh, not at all, my dear. Not at all.
I told the surgeon you were coming, and he gave me the results of my blood work.
Excellent!
And so?
I must say, Miss Fryer, your blood looks better than mine.
It does.
That's what happens to an old man who smokes. Now, tell me what else has been troubling you.
My back and my feet, mostly. I've had to wear a brace for a while.
So I see. And this started before you left the company, or after?
After I left. Dr. Neff said it had something to do with the radium at the plant. A girl I knew died from it, Irene Rudolph.
Oh, yes. Terrible thing. Vincent's angina.
Oh, what's that?
That's an ulcerated condition of the mouth, my dear.
From the radium?
Oh, no. An unfortunate and rare result of poor dental care. So this will be a lesson to you. Always brush your teeth.
I read something in the papers about it. About other girls who've gotten sick. A girl I used to work with for a while. She's in the hospital up in New York. And doctors have never seen anything like it. They don't know what it is.
Miss Fryer, don't tell me you pay any attention to the papers. Those stories are not scientific.
But
reporters are not scientific. They do not follow scientific methods. They write to sell, not to educate. The scientist is not concerned with what sells. He is concerned with the truth. He undertakes years of painstaking study to arrive at an intricate understanding of natural processes that most people would never presume to comprehend. You do want to listen to science and ignore the nonsense that's printed in the newspapers. Because I can tell you right now, radium has nothing to do with what's ailing you.
it doesn't.
Not in the least.
Then what is ailing me?
Poor diet, Miss Fryer. Poor diet.
But Dr. Neff said...
Dr. Neff is a dentist, not a physician. What you have is a vitamin deficiency. You must eat more fresh fruit.
Hard to do in the winter.
And raw meat as well. That will help you with the anemia. Raw cow's liver, particularly. Cook it if you must, but eat it twice a week, at a minimum.
Okay, let me grab my wallet.
Oh, no. I'm a scientist, Miss Fryer, and I take a purely scientific interest in this situation. By allowing me to examine you, you're helping me to advance my own studies. I thank you. Call me anytime. Dare.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Flynn.
Happy to be of service, my dear.
Dr. Frederick Flynn, PhD, Physiology, Columbia University. PhD. That's not even a real doctor.
My findings, Mr. Reader.
An objective evaluation, I trust.
The source of my funding has no bearing on my research.
Well, he's seen half a dozen girls used to work at the plant. What I hear, he's working for the company.
Now that that fella examined me.
I didn't examine her, per se. It was not a medical examination, per se.
Nevertheless, she's doing better.
From what I could see, Mr. Reader, she appears to be on the road to recovery.
Every girl he sees, it's the same thing. Nothing wrong with you.
Your blood's better than mine, he says.
And how are the other reports I asked for?
The animal studies I conducted reveal no adverse effects from radium. The problem, as you suspected, is one of personal hygiene only.
I can't believe someone would do something like that to you, just straight up lie to you like that.
Nothing surprises me.
It's exactly like you said, Catherine. Those people will do anything. They'll say anything.
Except the right thing.
We're gonna make them. We're gonna make sure someone hears about this.
I'm grateful to hear that my reports are doing very well, but I'm exceptionally grateful to hear that the lady you examined is doing much better. Isn't that so?
Didn't examine her. No. I merely consulted with her.
But she's doing much better. Isn't that so?
From what I could see, Mr. Reader, she appears to be on the road to recovery.
Excellent.
Here's my statement of fees and expenses.
Mr. Lee will draw you a check.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wiley. And thanks again to the New Jersey's Consumer League for another job well done. This does conclude our program for this evening, and I don't think we have time for questions, but we hope that you'll join us next door for light refreshments.
You want anything?
Oh, my throat's a little dry.
Can I help you, miss?
I'm here to see Miss Wiley.
You're not a guest. You're not a member of the Women's Club.
No, ma'am,
Are
but...
you a guest of a member?
No, ma'am, but Miss Wiley...
And I'm sure Miss Wiley would be happy to see you during her regular business hours.
I'm not leaving until I see Miss Wiley.
It's all right, Mrs. Middleton. It's fine. You must be Miss Fryer.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Young at the health department said I should come see you. I know I should have come during your office hours, but I missed so much work I didn't want to miss no more.
No need to apologize. I've been meaning to call on you myself. Please, sit down.
Me and Catherine, we wrote to the company about our troubles, but we never heard nothing. And we went to see a couple of lawyers, but they said they can't do anything because we hadn't worked there for so long. Something about the law won't allow it.
The statute of limitations.
Right. And this one lawyer, he said he'd be willing to sue, but he wants $1,000 up front. And I already spent everything I had saved on my wedding on doctors, and dentists, and hospitals, and they still don't know what's wrong with me exactly. And then Tommy, that's my fella, he says he don't care and that he wants to get married anyways. But I just wonder, Miss Wiley, what good do I do him like this? So I just want a little bit of compensation, so I feel like I'm not saddling him with such a burden. I'm sorry to rattle on at you about these things. I'm just so tired of being pushed around.
I don't blame you.
Miss Young at the health department, she said you had, what'd she say, clout?
I'd like to think so. We've certainly had our share of successes.
You can help us.
Tell me, Miss Fryer, just how far are you willing to go with this?
Ma'am?
Suppose I do find a lawyer to take your case. Someone willing to take it on a contingency. You wouldn't have to pay them unless you won. Would you be willing to sue?
I want my compensation.
Of course you do. Now, suppose the company says, here's some money for you, Miss Fryer. Only, you are to tell no one what we've agreed to. You are to say nothing about how you got sick.
Keep it quiet, you mean?
Yes.
Well, that don't seem right.
It isn't right, but that's what they'll do. They will try to buy your silence. Is it for sale, Miss Fryer?
No, ma'am. No, it isn't.
Good.
What do we have to do?
We start by putting you on page 1.
Page 1? What are you talking about?
Not just one. Many, many newspapers.
Is that all really necessary? We just want Grace to get her
Tommy, let her finish.
I understand your concerns, but this company has already shown it's willing to go to extremes to protect itself. No! I'm afraid the only way we'll get to them is to hit them where it matters most. Their public image. Once every newspaper in America tells your story, how you were sorely treated, how you suffered, how the company denied all responsibility, believe me, Miss Fryer, when that happens, Arthur Reader will come to the table with his hat in his hands.
All right, Miss Wiley.
I know it's a bit frightening.
No, it's okay. Right now, I'm more angry than I am scared.
Good. You hang on to that anger, Miss Fryer. You're going to need it. Only, be sure no one else sees it.
Ma'am?
Public sympathy, Miss Fryer. That's our strongest weapon. And the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.